So the chain rule, it's more of a general form of the power rule. So the chain rule says if we have a function in the form y equals f of x to the m power, then what is y prime? M f of x to the m minus 1 times, that's the power. This is the power rule. Then the chain rule says you multiply this by the derivative of the inside function. That's what the chain rule says. To apply this, let's look at an example. If we have x squared plus 1 to the third power, what is y prime? You bring the 3 down, x squared plus 1 to the second power, times the derivative of the inside, derivative of this, which is 2x. Then y prime would be 6x times x squared plus 1 to the second power. I'm going to slow down until you copy this and make sure you really got this example. Everyone okay with this one? Does anyone have any questions about it?
No.
Then try this one on your own. X to the fourth plus 3x squared plus 5 all to the fourth power. Find y prime. How did we find the 2x in the previous example? Watch, the chain rule says, this is the chain rule, says you bring the m down, subtract 1 from m, times the derivative of the highlighted part. Same thing, that's what I did here. I brought the 3 down, x squared plus 1 to the second power times the derivative of the yellow part, which is 2x plus 0, or 2x. We do the same thing for this one. Bring the 4 down, subtract 1 from the exponent, becomes 3, times the derivative of the highlighted part. What's the derivative of this? Derivative of x to the fourth is 4x cubed plus 6x plus 0. And you can just simply leave it like this. Again, look at the next one. Do you see the next one? We have a product of two functions. See, there's a product. So this reminds me the use of the product rule. That's the first thing. What does the product rule say? The product rule said you find the derivative of the first one times the second one as is, plus the first one times the derivative of the second one. That's the product rule that we covered in the previous section. So you copy twice, derivative on the first, derivative on the last. Now, to find the derivative of the first one, that's where the chain rule kicks in. So you bring the 3 down, x squared plus 1 to the second power times the derivative of this, which is 2x, times this stays the same, plus this stays the same, times the derivative of this 2 down, x squared minus 4 to the first power, times by the chain rule derivative 2x. Y prime equals 3 times 2 is 6x. Two times 2, 4x. And keep everything else the same. We can, of course, do more work by factoring, but we can just leave it like this for now. We continue. Another example, y equals the square root of 3x plus 5. So I see a square root. The first thing we need to do before we apply the chain rule is to rewrite it. Always, if you have a square root, means it's to the 1/2 power. Now, how do you find y prime? By the chain rule, bring the 1/2 down, subtract 1 from the exponent, times the derivative of the 3x plus 5, like that, if I want to write step by step. This is 1/2, 3x plus 5, 1/2 minus 1 is negative 1/2, times the derivative of 3x is 3 plus 0. So y prime equals 3 over 2, 3x plus 5. You bring that negative 1/2 down to become 1/2. We cannot have negative exponents. No negative exponents. In the final answers. Next one, you're going to try to find the derivative of this. Check the first one. Anyone has any question on the first one? No one has any question on the first one? The second one, from here to here, we use quotient rule. And from here to here, I use the chain rule. Check the work. If you have any questions about the steps, let me know.
Can you show the first one again?
Sure, yeah. The first step, you mean the first one here? This?
Yeah, the first one, yeah.
Sure, one. Yeah. From here to here, I use product rule. From here to here, I use the chain rule. Everyone okay with that? Okay, no questions. I'm moving down to this one. First step is the setup for the quotient rule. Next step, I use the chain rule for that.
Professor,
Yes.
could you go over the last step, like how you simplified it?
Yeah, sure. So the last step, all I did, the 6x, I kept the 6x, I just put it in the front, and this stays the same, minus, I multiplied the 2 by the 6x squared, that gave me 12x squared, and everything else like this stayed the same, and this stayed the same, and the denominator the same. That's all I did.
So you, to simplify, like you only multiply like the single.
Yes, the single terms. Yeah, single terms.
Okay.
Multiply the single terms.
On the test, if you don't simplify, would it be wrong?
No, I don't take off points for that.
Okay.
So sometimes I can't work with all of the groups. Sometimes I go into 2 or 3 groups and work with you guys and try on different problems, switch to a different group to work with during the breakout rooms. So we have another problem here. This looks like f of x to the third power. That's what this looks like. What is y prime? Y prime is, we bring the 3 down, 2x, x squared plus 1, subtract 1 from the exponent, step by step, times the derivative of f of x. So here y prime should be 3 f of x squared times f of x prime, like that. So times the derivative of the inside, 2x over x squared plus 1 derivative, like that. So y prime equals 3 times, this stays the same, square times, what's the derivative for this one? How can we find the derivative of this? What do we use?
Quotient rule?
Quotient rule, yes. We take the denominator square, the denominator times the derivative of the numerator, minus derivative of the denominator times the numerator. All this based on previous sections. Y prime equals 3 times 2x over x squared plus 1 square. For this one, x squared plus 1 times 2, derivative of that minus derivative of this is 2x times 2x, and keep this the same. You should really simplify this circle part. We simplify it, keep this the same, 2x squared plus 2 minus 4x squared. Keep this the same.
Wait, Professor.
Yeah.
So you use the product rule, but in using the product rule
No,
to get
no, from here to here I use the chain rule. And here to here we use the quotient rule. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'll give you time to copy this down. Everyone copy the chain rule step.
Give us some time, please.
Yeah, sure. So y prime is 3 times all of this, 2x over x squared plus 1 square. And on the top we have negative 2x squared plus 2 over x squared plus 1 all square. Okay, anyone has any questions about this? So I'm going to write down the last example here. Find the equation of the tangent line to the graph of y equals the square root of x squared plus 3x at the point 1 comma 2. So to do so, we use y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we do have x1 and y1. We just need to find the slope. How do you find the slope? Well, to find the slope, we define the slope of the tangent line to be that derivative of the function we have evaluated at x equals 1, because x equals 1 given. That's what we define the slope of the tangent line. So this is the slope of the tangent line. We need to find the derivative of that function. So I'm going to rewrite it as 1/2 first before we find the derivative. Copy that down. Okay, let's go over this. So y prime would be, bring the 1/2 down, x squared plus 3x, subtract 1 from 1/2, it's negative 1/2, times, by the chain rule, the derivative of the inside, which is 2x plus 3. So then y prime, keep the 2x plus 3 as is, and the 2 down here. We need to bring that one down, the one with the negative exponent. You can't have negative. And again, 1/2 means it's the square root. When x is 1, y prime would be 2 times 1 plus 3 over 2 square root of 1 squared plus 3 times 1. 5 over 2 square root 1 plus 3, 4. And we know square root of 4 is 2. So 2 times 2 becomes 4. That's the slope of the tangent line. Now,
the 1/2 becomes a 2 because when you flip it to the bottom, it switches.
so always if you have x to the 1/2, that's the same as the square root of x. This 2 here has not to do with the square root. This 2 came from this 2. So this part became here. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That's the equation of straight line. y1 is 1, y2 is 2. 1 minus 2. Slope is 5/4, x minus 1. So to me, if you stop here, it's fine. But if you look in the back of the book or like in my math lab, and they want you to write in a different form, we call slope-intercept form, then more work needs to be done. Multiply this in 5/4x minus 5/4. Then add 2 to both sides. So there's a plus 2 minus 5/4. multiply by 4 by 4. 8 minus 5, 3 over 4.